this one. So maybe my sound is coming through this one, so let me know if you can hear it. I might have attached my sound to the wrong one, so that might be an issue. Settings. Sorry about this. This is, of course, the live. I am getting sound in here. Okay, I'm going to turn up the sound. No, I better not. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. All right, so give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. If not, then I apologize. You know, this is live. This is how it goes. But I'm going to keep going, and okay, good. All right. Thank you, K3 people. All right, good. We're good now. So it looks like I've tied it to the wrong camera. So the beauties of doing a multi-camera live stream is where do you attach your audio? And that's been my weak link in all this, is trying to get the audio in here also, because that's very important. You need to hear my janky southern accent in all of its glory. So what we're going to do is we're going to check in a case, and I've already checked it in by clicking this button. Now some of these screens I have pre-done them, pre-made them, so that you can, I can blur the names before we get there. So as you can see, there's lots of, I can get into this later, maybe I can do a full review. Right now we're just going to talk about the digital workflow of a model, but let me go to this other screen here. This is the check-in screen of a digital case that was submitted by a doctor. So obviously I blurred out the name up there, but depending on which office they send it to, there are different ones that they can do. And I have a pan here. Let me show you this down in the corner. I have a blank pan, and it has a number on there, as you can see on here. And I'm going to enter that number in. So all of my pans have a number. This date needed has been set by the doctor's office. This is the date they need it. And I always tell them, put the day before the patient actually comes in. That gives a little cushion. And then I'm actually going to do a ship date. So this is with Pete. Sorry, my rooster's crowing again. Here's a picture. I told you I would show you. That's Pete. And he likes to crow while I'm doing a live stream. So that's Pete. And you can blame him for that. So ship date. This is our internal laboratory ship date. And I usually do, so they want it February 28th. And I'm going to choose a couple days before, so this Friday. And over here on the right-hand side, you can actually see the other cases. There's Pete again. Pete, I don't even know if y'all can hear that or not. But, oh, he's crapping on me. Oh. So we have this Lucas office here. And it tells me when it was checked in and when they need it. So, and the ship date of those. So if you actually want to batch ship a bunch, you can look in the right-hand corner and go, oh, on the 13th and the 14th, I have a bunch going to them. So you can actually change your ship date if you want to the 14th or something. That way you can batch them all together internally. Here is where you charge for your resin model. This is something you set up in the back end of EasyRx. This gives you a preview of the retainer, what you need. So actually I need a full pallet. So I'm going to 3D print it model upper, and that puts a charge on there. And if you notice, and so the doctors that use the iTero scanner, it integrates with EasyRx, so they can fill out the script, and then it shows the most recent iTero scans, and they can just attach the iTero scan to the patient. And then EasyRx in the back end imports those models from mylinetech.com and then submits it to me, and I get all the models and pictures and stuff. And if it's iTero, I get a preview of the mouth over here, which is really great because I can see there's brackets on here. And that I'm going to need to remove those because I have a labial bow right here. So I actually am going to charge for removing bracket carving. So all these are options you can have for bands and centered bands, and all these you can put in the settings in the back of the EasyRx. So I'm going to check in prescription, but first this is going to show the name, so I'm going to show my face. Let me check in the prescription. You can see it in this preview probably better without seeing the name. So I'm going to do my little blurry thing. There we go. And blur and blur and blur and blur that one too. Okay, so let's turn that back off. I think we are safe now. Again, this is what we have to deal with. That's why you don't see much of labs showing their screen. It's mainly just HIPAA things, but I wanted to show you an actual case. So we have the case here. I have we use a system, a tag system, so we can kind of track the cases through the lab. And I'm actually going to put this in 3D print queue. Let me bring this back up here. So I'm going to put 3D print queue. Let's see. Yeah, 3D print queue. And I'm actually going to send this to the auto base. So ABR, auto bracket removal, and auto basing service. So that way it tells me, and so I now have these tags up here that tell me what this is, and I can track it through there. So I can actually pull up a list of all the tags in my 3D print queue. So let me show you this up here, and I might have to tilt my camera a bit, but up here you see I have a 3D print queue. I have, after my wife checks in cases, she actually puts them on the shelf that tells me, hey, I'm ready to, you need to print these, because there's no models in these right now. So that's what the 3D print queue is. And so we can track, and we can look at something, when we need to look up a case or something, we can kind of tell by the tags where it's at. So after I send it to the printer, I'm actually going to tag it whichever printer I sent to. So then we kind of know, oh, it's been to the 3D print queue, it's been to the printer. And you can also do this with wire bending, the acrylic area, and you can just follow in there. And also the doctor can see those tags. So in fact, here's a story. One time I put a tag called doctor because it had a note, please call me when you get this, we need to talk. So I did call doctor, and one of the assistants actually saw it on their end and was like, hey, you said there's a tag in here and you called doctor. And so they actually preemptively called me, which was great. So just to let you know, doctors, so then the doctors can actually see the progress. Now there's an overall progress up here. Submit it February 7th, checked in at the lab the 10th, which is today. Whenever I scan it out at the end, and there'll be another video, this actually gives me a barcode. When I scan it out at the end, it will actually give me a, it'll put it as complete, and when I do end of day, at the end of the day, it'll do it as shipped, and you can see each day. Now this is, the doctor can see this too, so they can kind of see the progress, and you can actually see the smaller progress in the tags below. So let's print this. I'm going to, actually, let me change to different camera real quick, just in case this shows. I'm going to click over here, 3D Command Center. Okay, I just need to blur one thing, so let me turn that on real quick. Okay. And sorry, I knew this would take, y'all gotta be patient with me as I try to blur, try to be HIPAA compliant here, but I really want to show everybody, what this really looks like. So I can actually share my screen now. So this is the 3D Command Center. If I went back to here, no, it changed things on me. So anyway, I'll go back to 3D Command Center. It was in that lower left column of the prescription, and it actually gives me this. So if I do request, I get two options. Notice it had brackets, so I'm going to say automatic bracket removal, and this will send it to a AI server off-site, and it will look for brackets and remove them, make it smooth. It does probably a 90% job of really good job if it's clear of gums and stuff and the wires are taken out. It does a really good job. I'm going to request automatic basing. Again, I need a full palette. My trim margin, that has to do with aligners, so I'm just going to leave that. Base height is standard 1 millimeter, and that's how tall you want it. You do have options of thinnest, and then I just do a standard. Gives me a little bit of wiggle room with the name and stuff. So thickness of the walls is 3. I like that. And then I want to add drain holes, and I'm going to remove that because y'all can see that. And I'm going to put 120 as the base name. So I'm going to hit request. So that's going to send that to the servers to remove the brackets and then base it automatically. I don't have to touch it. Now, it can come back in an error in a little bit, and it will give me a problem with, sometimes it's about 70-80% accurate. It doesn't like lowers as much as it likes upper. So I chose an upper, so hopefully it'll do it and won't give me an error. If it gives me an error, then I get to show you how I do how to do it manually, which is a cool feature too, and it's how we used to do it all the time. So let me again show this screen. I got to go back. I'm going to click the back arrow and go back to the thing here. Let me so up here in this right corner, hopefully you can see it right here, is a print button, and that I'm going to print the paper, and that is trying to send it to my Zebra printer. Here we go. And come on. I'm using a new browser, so it's actually kind of slow on me. There we go. All right. So this will print a full page. That's a full page 8x11 for the script. I'm actually going to do landscape, and I'm going to scale this down. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to start with 75, and I'm going to lower it. See, it's 2 pages. I'm going to keep shrinking it until I'm going to remove the headers. So I'm going to have it print on half the page. I'll show you in a minute. Let me send this to the printer, and cross our fingers, it'll print. And oh, my printer is low on ink. Wonderful. All right, let's go back to the screen here. Oh, let me set up my blurry face real quick, and let's just do this whole thing. All right, so I think I have gotten it everywhere. All right, so now I can do my screen here, and so I have now tagged it. I have printed it. Again, this process goes really quick, and then I send it to the 3D Command Center, which is auto base. Now this is an extra. This is what would I call this? An extra step, an extra cost module. So I hear that printing. I'm going to grab that real quick, and we're going to go over here. And the reason I do print it on half the sheet, I like to fold it in half like this. And then that's usually what a lab script looks for. Ortho lab is that size. They all are different. Different labs like different sizes, but I like this size, and it fits using the thing here. So let me put that up there. That's one of the ones we're going to print. Let's actually check the process on that while I'm on this screen here. Nope. We'll see. Sometimes they'll say, oh, it completed. So let me go back. And there it is down here at the bottom of all the things. I'm going to keep this up here, and let me show you my view here. Okay, so it's down here at the bottom, and it adds it. So once it finishes the auto basing, it sticks it in there. So we're going to preview this real quick, and I may change solo layout. So let's view this. And oh, my fat neck is in here. Gross. And there is our view. It's within the web browser, and it labeled it automatically. So I did 120, but you saw it pre-populated it with actually, I can share my screen. This would be better than seeing my back of my neck. So you can actually see the name here, right here, and you can see that it actually, the name was on there, and it will automatically print the name, but you can type in anything you want right there. I don't like, hopefully they update that. I don't like this. We'll do one manually probably coming up in a little bit, and I'll show you the labeling that I like. So this is the model. It does a pretty good job on uppers. Sometimes it gets the occlusion wrong, and this is at a weird angle. So, all right, that is it for that. All right, so that's checking it in. My wife actually checks those in, and let me change my screen here. My wife actually checks those in, sends them to the auto base, and then puts them on my shelf. And then when I'm ready to print, I have another screen here. Make sure I'm going to need to refresh this. And let me do my blurry thing real quick. I could actually show this screen probably. So I'm just going to do the last names of all these kids. So this actually helps you find the kids. That way you don't have to worry about clicking on the wrong one and stuff like that. All right, so blurring all the names. Y'all get to see the behind the scenes. You see there's a whole bunch. I don't think I need to go down this far, but I better just, I'm probably going to be choosing one that is way down there. So let's do that. All right. All right. So let's turn that off because it messes with my eyes. All right. So this is the STL print list. And to get to here, you actually click here. You actually click here, STL 3D. There's your 3D command center. But if you click it within the script, it actually takes it just to that patient. If I click the 3D command center, it'll be every single scan that's in the system. So you have to do some filters to try to find. And so the screen we're on is View STL Print List. All right, click off of there. Okay, come on, turn off. Love these apps. Okay. So, after you have done everything you needed to do, you have, let's see if can I even check these? Yes, I can. Okay. So we're at the point where the wife has checked in a case, the front desk guy or girl checked in a case. They put them in your 3D print queue, and now I'm ready to print. So I like to print 6 at a time. We can discuss this later, but the 3D printers I use, I like to print them flat on their base, and I can fit about 6 in there. So I usually grab a stack of 6 on here. Get my mouse over on the right screen. So up here I do have what I think will be 6 that I can choose from. So I'm going to try to find these. Oh, my screen just fell. That's too heavy. So, all right. So the first thing I do is I take them. I look at what they are. I look at the name here. So I'm going to look, and here is this one and this one. I really want to turn this off. It is screwing with me right now. Okay, turn off. Turn off. All right. I'm not going to get to. So I'm going to set that over here. I got those 2 selected. I have this one we just did select it, and that is that left-hand side over here. Let me share here. So that's that left-hand side. I'm selecting the ones I want to print. So we have one here. I don't know if I'm going to have both of them or not. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it rejects the lower, and we'll have to go in here and do those by hand, and that's fine. Oh, I got it. This is the upper jaw scan. And I'm going to set that to the side up here, and grab my next one. I'm trying to not say these names out loud. Usually they're in here close together. I don't see it. Come on, where are you at? Nope, nope, nope. Usually this goes pretty faster. Okay, let's try that one. Here we go. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. I'm going to put this one over here. You got to do an organization, or else you're going to get off. So I take the 6 I'm going to try to print. I put them here, and then as I click them off on this side over here, I put them on my left-hand side, and so I know I do have these clicked. This one I'm going to have to redo the lower, and we'll do those manually, which works out perfect. I'll show you the manual, how I manually base these. So this column right here, let me share my screen. This column right here is printed, so I'm actually going to mark these as printed. That means I have sent them to the printer. So as you can see, the more digital you do, the longer your list is going to be here. And what this does, it removes your printed ones over here. So if you do this, if you click this check mark here, it will filter out all the what would you call that? Filter out all the ones you've already printed. I don't know why I'm lost my mind. And then usually there is a blue box right here, and I got to go turn that on, which actually lets me show you how to turn that on. So let me get out of this screen. All right, and actually, so you're going to go to Configure at the top. You're going to go down to third-party integrations, and you scroll down to Formlabs Preform, and that's one of the reasons I chose Formlabs, is because I knew it integrated with EasyRx, and I'll show you why this is such a cool trick. So I'm actually going to enable Preform. So Preform is what is the nesting software for Formlabs, and it does a really good job. So I've activated that now. So I'm actually going to go back to my STL print list. I got to redo this. So like I said, it usually goes faster. So let me get this checked off real quick while I'm in this screen here. So you notice all these check marks here. There's a bunch of check marks. If I click this up here, show only models not printed, it will remove all the ones that I've already sent to the printer. So it makes your list shorter and it's easier to use. So I know I have Addison here. I have Josh. This does go quicker when I can say the name out loud better. I'm going to do it real quick. So a handy thing is you could do on a Windows computer, do Control F, and you can find words in a web page. And I think it's Command F or Apple on the other one. So I have, something's happened to that one. It's not in here, so let me uncheck this. I got to go back and find it in here. Here it is. Okay, so I accidentally left it checked. So check this one. There we go. All right, now we're rolling. And then get these two. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the upper for this one. Okay, so here is the beautiful part of this is, so when you activate it, it'll download something that you have to install. I forgot, you saw that download there and I just cleared it. And you have to actually you have to install that for the first. I've already installed it, so it should work. But you have to actually install it first to get this for your web browser, EasyRx web browser, to talk to your preform or your nesting software that EasyRx integrates with. So that's why that thing downloaded. And I've already downloaded it for another browser. Hopefully this will work. But once I have these all checked and I have print it checked, I'm going to click this button. Now this will take a little while. Yeah, always. Yeah, open EasyRx web extension. I always set it to always. That never pops up anymore. So once I click that, it's going to start downloading in the background all those models, not to my hard drive, but like to my RAM. So it's good to have a computer with a lot of RAM. And then eventually it's going to open preform. So open preform, and it's going to throw those models into preform. I just love this feature. It is a great feature. And so there are no models being downloaded to your computer. It's downloaded to your RAM temporarily and then put into the preform nesting software. And then that's what I'm going to use to send it wirelessly to the printers back there. So that, oh, we got some questions. So while that, I need, I wish I could translate that. I'm sorry. Perry, sorry, just start watching. Does the doctor have to have the software for this form? Yes. So they have their own EasyRx software. So they have their own EasyRx software. So they have their account. We have my account. Now, Lab can pay for their basic account. EasyRx charges $1.29 per script. So you get to pay for the doctor, or the doctor can pay for themselves. And EasyRx integrates with their scheduling software too, like O2, Ortho Cloud, all those scheduling softwares. It will integrate with those also, so they can actually fill out the script from within their scheduling software, and it gets sent to us. And they can attach photos and x-rays and scans, whatever they need to attach to the information we need to do our job. They can attach it on their end, which is very cool. They can also create templates. I didn't get into that, but they can create templates for their favorite. If we have time at the end, I'll do one. It's pretty cool. You can actually move the labial bow around. You can move Adam's clasp, and you can manipulate it on the script, digitally, and then when they send it, we get their representation just like they drew it on there. So, does the 99 plant seem sufficient for what we do in an ortho lab except for billing? Yes. Yeah, the 99. I believe that includes this 3D editing software that I'm about to show off. But it probably, I don't think it includes the auto base and the auto bracket. That's an extra charge on top of that. But yeah, the 99, you can receive cases from doctors and manipulate files with that. I think it's the basic EasyRx 3D feature. I think they've changed the packages since I've signed up. But I do have the enterprise. I do have the billing. So every time they send a script in, it already has a price for it, and they can actually see the price as they're creating the retainer, and then they can take that. So whenever I check it out, like it's done, I can check the price of it. It lists it out, and then I can hit create invoice, and all the ones I'm checking out for the doctor, it puts them all on one invoice with a total, and that invoice integrates with Xero, which is like a QuickBooks. So I export it out of there and into QuickBooks, and then I can bill them and send them payment links and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. What kinds of Formlabs printers are you using? I'm using Formlab 2. I got 3 Formlab 2s and a Formlab 3. So those are the printers, and I'll go over those a little bit when we get to that point. So good question. So this has loaded since I've been here, and let me stop screen sharing and do it again. Share screen and window. Yeah, here's Formlabs. Share. And will this work? Nope. Add to stream. There we go. Okay. So now those have taken that list that I have clicked on, said I want to print this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And again, I do 6. I'll just print 6 at a time. That's just what I do. We can debate it. You can print vertically if you want. I'm scared to, But by the time it takes to print 12 vertically, I can print 6 and already be working on them while the next 6 prints. So Formlabs aren't the fastest. They're pretty reliable. And then with the right Formlabs with the new draft resin that's come out, they've gotten pretty fast. And that Form 3 is about twice as fast as the Form 2. So they're coming along. So it's opened up. So it downloaded those to my RAM on my computer. It opened up Preform, and it's putting it into my nesting software called Preform. And now it's asking, do I want to repair? I'll always say yes. So Preform is any holes or extra bits or whatever, it's repairing those. So this is my nesting software right here. And let's see. I heard ventilation is important. No, which is weird. I've really never had a hard time with ventilation, but I have had friends that have, and it depends on the printer and the resin. The faster printers, I believe you need ventilation because their resin is very volatile, and that helps with the fast printing. So this resin is not as fast, but there's not fumes. You can't smell this stuff. Now, I will go over what I plan to do in the future. I do feel like you do need ventilation, and I'm going to put a through-the-wall ventilation over there. You can't even see it. Oh, here. There's my printers, and above it, I'm going to put a through-the-wall ventilation system. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So, eventually, yeah. But with the Formlabs, I've never had a ventilation issue. I've had a friend that used Sprint Ray. She's an in-house lab tech, and the fumes were actually causing her to break out. And so they had to do ventilation. They had to put the printer in another room. Not saying anything against Sprint Ray, just I believe it has to do with the resins. Formlabs, their resins aren't as volatile. It prints slower, but it's not as volatile. I'm probably using the wrong words. Or reactive. It's not as reactive, so it prints slower. But the fumes aren't near as bad. I smell more of the alcohol than anything. That's really what I want to ventilate out. Maribel, good question. How many models can you print in a day? So I do about 6 per printer. Okay, so it'll take about, if I go back to here, as you see on the printer, the far left one there, that's my Form 3. It's faster. I can probably print 6 in about 2 hours. The other 3, I only use the 2 in the middle. The one on the right, I've got to fix. I need to repair it. But the 2 in the middle, it's probably 3 or 4 hours to print 6 models. So I can do 18 models, 12, 15, yeah, 18 models at a go, and I can probably do that twice a day easily. So whatever math that is, 18 times 2. So I can print that pretty easy, and then I can print overnight also. So that's another 18 that I can print overnight. So that's how many I can do a day with those 3D printers. Actually, I'm going to look that up, and if somebody wants to put it in the comments. I'm running a blank. Let's see. 18. 36. Okay, that's what was popping in my head, but I was feeling like it was wrong. So I can do 36 a day, which is good. I can't make 36 retainers a day. I can do about 16 or 18 on a pretty easy day. I could probably do 36 if I just bust it and have help 24/7. But I can probably do about 16 retainers a day by myself. And so it prints 18. That's enough for me for a day. So I can print double that in a day. So good question. So let's go to this. So this is my nesting software. And actually, I got to put one more in here. Actually, let's see if we can fit these and see if I got enough room for another one. So you can see one has imported upside down. It's red. It's showing me there's a bunch of unsupported areas. So I'm going to go over here to this orientation button. I'm going to do select base, and it tries to find the bottom. So You see it found it. So you can put it here, and it's going to put that as the bottom. Or you can put it on this tooth, and that tooth is now the bottom. So like I said, I like to print these flat. To me, it's safer than printing them vertically. The Form 3 I'm not too worried about. The Form 2s, you can get them to break off if you don't support them. A lot of supports involved in that. So I've just gotten used to just printing them, and I just put them all in a row. I'm just moving these around, making room. Let's see, I can move this over here. It's kind of like Tetris a little bit. So it looks like I might have enough depending on how big that other lower is that I need to do. But first thing we're going to do is I'm going to select this printer over here. So I have, hopefully it's online. Yeah, it is. So I have, so if you don't know anything about Formlabs, instead of a serial number, they use animal names. So I have Zenio Goshawk and Skitty and Profuse Tarsier. The one that's broken is Enormous Weasel. It's the best name I've ever had for a printer, Enormous Weasel. But so I'm going to choose Zenio Goshawk. That is the Form 3. So it is actually Form 3B, as you can see here. And then these are all the resins you can choose from. So the Form 3 does a lot more. So if I choose the Form 2, obviously it reduces it down. I can't print as many resins, but if I do Form 3, it adds some in here. So there's night guard material, there's denture base, denture teeth, custom tray, there's just clear, and then of course Formlabs isn't completely dental. It's in every industry, a lot of engineering and architecture and biomedical stuff. So that I'm going to choose draft. That's what I have in there, and version 2 of draft. That's what I like to use. Now they do have model, and they have a highly accurate crown and bridge models with removable dies. So this is very accurate. I have used model before, and it was very fragile. I think it was version 1. It was very brittle, and I didn't like it. It didn't hold up to what I needed to do. But I do like this color, that model color right there. But the gray is okay. And I'm actually going to name this today's date, so Feb 10th, and I put the initials of the printer on there too. So, oh, that's fab. So yeah, it's fabulous. February 10th, XG for Zenio Goshawk. And then layer thickness. This is a good layer thickness for ortho. It gives you the accuracy you need. If I do adaptive, or if I do this, it prints faster, but then you get that real topography on the model, real stair-step view on the model. So 1 is good. Adaptive doesn't really work for what we're doing because adaptive is, well, I can explain it later. It pretty much, if you have a lot of the same prints, it can print those in thicker layers, and then as it gets into more curves and stuff, it will print smaller layers, which you would think works for models. It never has worked for me very good. And then I use default settings. I'm going to click apply. So then that's going to change. See the mixer side over here in the front. If I was using Form 2, it would flip-flop. All those DLP, though they're not, and I think that's why they're a little bit slower. Are they DLP type printers? No, I think they're SLP. Don't quote me on that, but I know they're not DLP. Those are the real faster printers, and the difference is I think DLP, it images it. So if I slice this up, see the different layers. So a DLP, it can flash that image at one time, and then it's set for the next layer, and then flash that image. So if I go page up, page up, page up, it'll just flash that, and that's why it's so fast. Now what Formlabs does, it goes in there and does zzz, zzz, zzz. It has a little laser that traces out each layer and then goes up one, and then traces out each layer and then goes up one, and then slowly over time it builds up. So this is SLP. I don't know why Formlabs hasn't gone DLP. Maybe there's the reason for that. But that's a good question. Those aren't DLP, and I think that has to do a lot with the speed of it too. It's the resins and the speed of it. So now that I've set those, I'm going to support these. As you can see, the red that's showing is unsupported. So as I do the little slider here, you see all this stuff here is unsupported. If I zoom into there, you see all that would be unsupported and would just fall into the printer as it prints. And this is another reason I do the, let me go page up. I do drain holes. One is I can get it to drain easier when I put it on a tilt. I'll show that in a second. But also it doesn't create a suction cup. If I didn't have that, let's see if I can show this. If I didn't have that, if it just printed like this, that would be kind of a suction cup and it would tear off the build plate and it's not good. So I'll put drain holes on there to allow some movement of stuff. So I'm actually going to select all of these and I print directly. I don't do a base. So a raft would be, it lifts it up off the model, puts it on the raft, and then does supports, and you can do that if you want. It just takes longer to print. I like to print directly on the bed, and then I auto-generate all my supports. So it's actually auto-generating these. Now I have put a link down below to Steve Szara's brand new YouTube video where he does an EnvisionTech, which is desktop health, and he shows how it's pretty funny. I like Gilligan's Island, so watch after this, and it will show you what you need to know about supports and stuff. So I'm happy with Preform. It does a good job of generating supports. Obviously, it's taking finding all those bits and pieces that don't have any support, and it's putting a support on there. And you just kind of gotta wait. Get you a drink. I got one over here. Get you a coffee. Get you a drink. Sometimes it kind of waits, and I'll go over why you need a drink while you're not alcohol. So they've been supported. Now you can see there are supports right here. And let me do a page up. So this is the very first print, and you can see all the supports that are under there now. So if I go through each layer, you can see as that builds up. Actually, let me do this at an angle. You can really see it easier. So you can see all those supports it's added in there. And if you don't like some of those supports, you can actually go in, click on one of these and click Edit. Oh, it's not doing it. Okay. Cancel. All right. All right, so that's pretty much ready to print. So you see my thumbs up over here. Always look for those 3 green thumbs up. That means it's ready to print. You can orientate these however you want to get them to fit. You know, you can do them all at once. You can move them around, even with the supports. You can move them around. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to go back. All right, we're going to go back and we're going to do one by hand, base one by hand. So now that I have these ready to go, we're ready for one more. And let me change my view because I don't know if the names are going to pop up. Here we go. All right, so this is my work area if you're just tuning in. And let's get back to here and here. And I'm actually going to click up here in the right hand corner. It says prescriptions. I know y'all can't see that, but it says prescriptions, and you can actually search by prescription. So I have my case pan number here, and that's how I usually like to search for these. It's just easier than typing in a name. I'm a terrible speller, so I like to do the case pan number. So it pulls up everything that has this case pan number or used to. So these are the cases that used to be in there. So I'm actually going to view this real quick, and I'm going to go to 3D Command Center, and you can't see it very well, but right here it says failed. It says too many non-manifold geometries or whatever. So it's the auto base, pretty good, but sometimes it fails on you. So I am going to go back. If you can see in here better, the patient's name is in here, so I can't show you very well, but this shorter one here says original, and so that's the lower scan original, upper scan original, and then once a scan is attached to EasyRx, EasyRx optimizes it. So it goes in there, cleans it up, smooths it out where it's rough, patches any holes, and so then it's called optimization. So it actually optimizes it, and those are those two ones on the top. So I'm actually going to choose an optimized one because the auto base feature only does it to originals. So you could actually bypass the feature by the failure by downloading the optimized version, re-uploading it, and then EasyRx thinks that's an original again, and then you can try it that way. But I'm going to use this time to do this one. So you actually just click on that file, and then I got two options here, view and edit. I'm going to click edit, and this may run a little slow because I'm actually live streaming and trying to run this. So this will give us some time to talk. So if you have any questions while this loads, I can answer those questions. So it's going to load a work area. So again, I'm still in the browser, and I'm about to put a base on this, and you just use your mouse. So I'm using the scroll wheel here, and there is our model. It's a little glitchy. It runs a little bit smoother, but again, I'm live streaming at the same time, so this is going to work just a little bit slower. But you're actually just seeing a preview. This model exists on another server. So this server exists on Amazon servers or something. And you're making all these edits and then sending it to the server, and then it's showing you a preview of what it's going to look like. So let me do my little blurry thing and select this name and this name, the whole thing. Okay, so let's turn that back off. Okay, so now we are ready to go. So the right hand side, actually let me share this. I think I can share this now. Oh, remove, stop screen share and present. Let me add another screen share here. Window. This one, this one, this one, this one. Actually, let's just do the window. Let's do this. Share. Okay, so we are in, let's add the stream. Let me get a bigger view for y'all. You don't need to see this stuff on the left-hand side where my face is blocking it. But let me show you the basic outline. So this is the 3D editing software. It's within EasyRx, and I think it's included in that 99. Perry, I think that it's included in the 99 plan, is this basic basing feature. So this is EasyRx 3D is the name of this feature, and it's within the web browser. And the beauty of it is you go back to that one script over here down below, and you click on the one you want to edit, and then you click edit, and it takes you right into an edit screen, makes a copy of the model. So when you make these edits and you save it, it actually saves a copy of it back into the script, kind of like it did for that auto base, the one we did on that first case. It did the auto base, saved it back into that script as a new file. So you don't ever lose the original, which is beauty of this digital stuff. You don't lose the original, and you can create as many copies of this as you want. So on the right hand side over here is you just follow it from the top down. I'm just going to show you what I do. It wants you to orientate the model. So the step one is click left molar. The next one is click between the first anteriors, and then the third click is the right molar. So I'm going to click the left molar. Any of the molars will do. So I'm going to click that. Oh, let me orientate. Here we go. Click the left model, and then I'm going to try to get these in the same plane. You can click down here, you can click up here. It's just going to change the inclusion of it. So you'll see that little triangle that popped up. So what's that telling EasyRx? EasyRx doesn't know what the hell this is. It's just a bunch of pixels. So it's actually telling it now, here's the top, here's the bottom, here's the occlusal surface, and you can actually use these now. So there's top, bottom. Now this runs a lot faster if I wasn't live streaming, so that's why it's a little slow. So remember, we're still in the web browser, which amazes me what the web browser can do nowadays. So I'm just using my mouse. If I left click, I can rotate it around. If I right click, I can shift it back and forth, and then the scroll wheel zooms in and out. And there we go. So I have done the first step, and this also tells EasyRx, hey, this is the the surface on this side, and this is the intaglio surface. So it knows which side to put the base. Otherwise, it'd try to put the base on this side, and that won't work. So they've added a new feature. Before, you had to actually move these dots like this and make your trim line, or hold the shift button and trace your own trim line. But now they've created an easy base. So I'm going to click over here on easy base, and it pretty much just shows where do you want the bottom of your base to be. And so this is actually going to be a retainer, so I actually like to keep it as tall as possible. I like as much room in here as possible for acrylic and wire and all that good stuff. If you're going to do a horseshoe for like an Essex retainer, you could bring it up high and just have the teeth, just have that horseshoe shape. Actually, it's cutting that off, so I would bring it down. And it'll cut off everything on this side and keep everything on that side. So let me get this back here. And so I'm going to lower this a bit. There we go. And so it will actually fill in straight down all the areas that don't have any scans. So let's do, okay, so I did easy base, and I always do hollow models, just helps save on resin, and it prints faster. Base height, for the lowers, I like to do a little 2mm cushion to keep it thicker and a little stronger. Upper models, I do thinnest. Wall thickness, I click 3mm, and then I like to add 3 large drain holes. And of course, there's chamfer base, and that adds a little ledge at the back where you can pop these off. I tend to pop them off okay without it. And I'm going to click add base. Now this does take a little bit of time, so let's answer some questions while this is doing it. Sorry, once again, Perry, once again, why do you have to convince the doctor to purchase? You don't. You can pay for it for the doctor. You don't have to have the doctor pay for it. Now that is the hardest sell with EasyRx, is getting the doctors used to get free prescription pads from us, right? We used to have to print them, give them to them, and they had free prescriptions and they handwrite it out and all that stuff. So it's very hard for them to go, why do I need to pay for EasyRx? Until they start using it. And I've never had one, well, I did have one go back to paper. But all my other doctors have used it and have continued to use it. It is, but again, you can, as a lab, pay for their script, and they pay $1.29 a script. So increase your retainer process by $1.50, hint, and that pays for that. And so you pay for that at the end of the month, however many scripts got sent to you through EasyRx. And again, this is included with it. Now, again, they can track them, and when you ship them, you can actually put a UPS tracking number on each case. So the doctor's like, where is this case? They can go on to log on to their account, EasyRx. They see all the cases you have in your lab, and they can click into them, and they can see the where they are in the progress. And if you've shipped it, it'll show shipped, and it'll have at the bottom, it'll have, do I still have this open over here? Let me change my view. No, I don't. Well, up here. So in this left-hand column, this is the view they see also. In the left-hand column, they will actually see a track incoming packaging, so they can track it there. So it's actually a pretty good deterrent for phone calls. So they're like, where's this case? They can actually look on there. It's like, oh, it's been shipped. Let me change cameras here. So it's been shipped. Let's take, we don't have to call, and we can track it. Oh, it's going to be here Tuesday, so we can get the patient in on Wednesday. So that's the beauty of EasyRx, and it being able to house scans in with the patient file, and it sticks with that patient file for forever. Okay. Oh, this is just finished. So yeah, Perry. Yeah, it's an extra charge, but yeah, it's a hard sell for the doctors. But more and more, especially the ones coming out of offices or dental schools, they're more inclined for this more modern stuff, and so they don't mind paying for it, especially when it integrates with their software that they're using in-house. Meaning, they just go to their patient file, and usually there's like a EasyRx button. It opens up a little window, and it's an EasyRx screen, and they can fill out all the details. Just click, one click adds their default script. So like this doctor here, he likes this. He does this on every single case. So like 80% of doctors' cases are the same thing over and over again. If they had to write a prescription, they'd actually have to handwrite it or draw it or something every time. But this one, they can actually do a template and track it. So let's go back to here. All right, so it's finished now. So let's take a look, make sure it did a good job. There we go. I got my 3 drain holes, and it has filled in the areas that we didn't get a scan. So this would be where we'd have to go back to the assistant or the doctor and go, hey, can you try to capture here? I don't put the acrylic all the way back here on this one, probably right here, so I'm not too worried about it. But otherwise, it looks pretty good. So I did get a question on one of my YouTube shorts where I was using the new build platform that has a pop-off feature, talking about names. I think it was Perry. Was it Perry that you asked this? How do I do my names? It's in this program. I don't have to export it to another program, put the name on it, export it back, blah, blah, blah. It's all in here. And so here you can add a label. I'm not going to add a patient name. Right here, it is pulling info from the EasyRx script that's already been put in there by the doctor. So any misspellings, any problems with legibility, taken care of by EasyRx. So this actually pulls in the data. You don't have to type anything if you don't want to. So I'm actually going to do RX ID, and I'm going to do patient initials on this. And I'm going to choose regular font size. You can do large or auto, and it'll however much you stretch it out, it'll get bigger. But regular's been good. I like emboss. I'm going to show you why in a minute. And you can actually put 2 labels on there. So you can put, I used to put like the name on one side and the bin number on the other. But now I'm putting it all in one. I don't have to do it twice. So you got these 2 little handles here, and you can move it around. And again, there's no mixing up the name in the model. Remember, I'm within the script in EasyRx. So it pulls the name, or in this case, the prescription number from EasyRx. If I don't like that, if I want the patient initials and the bin number, I'll just check that, position the first label. And I usually just choose the same size. So there we go. That actually looks like an AM station, but and you can move it around, make it level, and then you just click Add Label. So now it's going to go through. Again, this is doing it on another server, not on your computer. So you don't have to have a super fast computer. They do recommend a lot of RAM because a lot of this is happening in the RAM also, showing you a preview. So it's almost like a window into their powerful servers that are doing this. So that is, so again, have a drink ready while you're waiting on this. Now, a trick I do, now when I used to, before they did the auto basing, I would actually have both screens going. I'd have one web browser like Chrome or Firefox or Brave or something, and then I have Chrome or Firefox or Brave, a different one, so it's not using the same web browser. I'd have it over here, and as I'm waiting on this to process, I start another one over here. And then while I'm waiting on that, I finish this up, and I just go back and forth, and you can get a lot done while you're doing it. But now that they've come out with the auto basing, and it does about 70 or 80% good job. I rarely, like this one, I have to do the lower, and it's fine. It doesn't take too long. But let me get back to here. So this is done. The label has been added, and I like this label because it actually protrudes out a little. It's easier to read than the auto-based label, and I just like the label better. It's easy to read. Then you can actually take a Sharpie or something. You can actually mark over it and really bring those out. So now we're going to save it. We can actually type in that box whatever you want. You can type in, I used to type in upper or lower or U or L or base pan or whatever. Pretty much you're just typing in whatever file naming system you use for your EasyRx. So when you click save, you got to sit there and wait. You can't click off. So that's why it's good to have another one open and going. So while you're waiting on it to save, you can just click off. You don't click off. Let it run until you see that white bar. And then you can actually click this and it'll just shut down that tab and it will save it in here. So let's refresh this. I need to change my camera view. All right, so let's refresh this. And if you look down here, it's going to add the name, the invoice number, and then hollow. So, but you can name whatever you want. I usually just use the default naming. And whenever I used to do all these by hand, I would do the lower first, and then I would do the upper. So I always knew that hollow was lower, hollow -1 was the upper. So if I was looking for that, that's where we would be. So now I can go back to that EasyRx print list up here. Let's go there, print list. And you can't see this very well, but it is here it is, right here. So if I actually click this and remove all the ones I've already printed, it's right here at the top, Addison Moore. So I'm actually just going to click this, click print it, meaning I'm sending it to the printer. And so then I can filter it out of the list later. And then if I go back to here, let's remove that view. Let me add another share screen. And is it this one? No, window. That's what I need right there. Share. Oh, Perry. So basically, all this labor is included in the model charge. There is a standard. Is there a standard fee for model? No, it's now auto basing. Let's get that. I'm doing the wrong one. Okay, click on the right one. So auto basing, the ones that do auto basing, there is a per model charge. There's different structures now. EasyRx 3D, the ones where I just now showed the manual version of it. I don't believe there's a per model charge on that. I think it's just a base fee add-on for that 99. I think it's included in that 99 thing. So yeah, basically all this labor is included in the model charge. There is a standard fee. Oh, for my fee, and I used to charge $15 a model, and $5 of that was my labor sitting here doing all this. $5 was the cost of the resin, and $5 was the post-production, right? Oh, no, $5 went to the printer payment. So each model went toward the payment for the printer. Now I've charged more for that now, but that's pretty much the labor in a model, in a digital model, is the software, the resin, the printer payment, the user, if you pay someone to do this, to get it to print. So yeah, that's where the price of the models go into. It's gotten more expensive. Digital is cool and stuff, but cheap is analog, a plaster model. What taking impressions, 11 cents, and maybe another 50 cents in stone to pour it up. It's cheap, but you only have one copy of that, and if someone loses their retainer, you got to take a new impression, because most likely that model got destroyed when you made the retainer. So you got to take a new impression. Then you got to, but if you do digital, you have the model, the original model. If it hasn't been too long, you can just say, and EasyRx has this, has a feature that says remake on a script that you've already shipped. You can click remake or refine or whatever, and it will copy everything over, attach those scans again, and it sends it to us. And we just print a new model and go on. Now, a lot of doctors sell insurance on these models. Kind of not. Insurance on the retainers. they give the model to the patient, because usually the model doesn't get destroyed because these are resilient to getting destroyed. You've seen past videos. And what am I trying to say here? Yeah, they give the models to the patient and says, if you bring this back, we'll knock $20 off your replacement or repair. That way, I don't have to print a new model. They don't have to send a new one. They just send me the model, and that works out great in that case. So I am going to rotate this to get it to fit. So as you can see, you can add these one at a time. I'm going to add none, auto-generate supports. Zim, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Do you charge for fitting the bands? Yes. Yeah. There's a charge no matter what, because there's extra effort, especially when it comes to digital, for doing bands. So yeah, I do charge model, and maybe if we have some time at the end, I'll show you how I prep my bands. It's a trick I learned from my friend Safan Ali down in Houston. He showed me some cool tricks with that. So let me share my screen. Okay, so now I've added this in there. All right, I've supported it. I have 3 thumbs up over here. It's good. I've already selected my printer. So then what I do is I send it to the printer by clicking this button, and it confirms where you're sending it, tells me how much cartridge, how much resin I have left. It tries to average what it's used in the cartridge and stuff. And then account, this will actually sync this to my online dashboard for Formlabs, and I can actually track this print there. Actually, over there, go back. Yeah, so it's sending it to that printer. All right, so let's go back to here. Oh, this is taking a while. Again, drink. All right, let's see if I can add an extra camera here. I know this is a weird view of me, but so I have actually uploaded it. I can actually hear it turn on. The Form 3, you can actually prime it, and you can remote upload prints to it. So you prime it, you get it ready. You can upload these prints to the form at your house, or at the lab from your house, which is great. So you can do some of this work at home and send it there, and you can actually track the progress online. So if I click that, oh, I didn't here. Let me change my view. So I brought up my default web browser, and it's actually going to bring up my Formlabs account, and I can see all my past prints that I have done. It tells me how many cartridges I have running low. I have 1 tank with low health, and I got to put that order in today. If you're running multiple printers, excuse me, you can see them all here, and they're printing and when they're going to be done, and you can schedule all that. So if you're a big lab, there's some labs that have 12 of these printers, and they can control them all in here. Who's printing what materials they're using, how much I have used, how many resin tanks I've used, how many total resin tanks I've used. So this dashboard's pretty cool for you. I can't share this screen yet, but all right, so we've got that set up in the back. Let's see here. Is this asleep? Wake up. I'm gonna get something's gonna yell at me. There we go. So we got a view. I don't use this view much because of the audio delay. I hate it. So but it's gonna kind of show what I'm doing over here. So what I do is now, let me change my screen here. I take my stack of pans that's ready to go, and I can actually scan them like this into EasyRx. So right now I don't think it is. Oh, actually I can do this. Okay. All right. Hold on. I can do this. You got to get back to here. Oh, okay. Stop share screen. Share screen again. Do the right screen. All right. Let's go back to production. Prescription. Share. Okay. So I'm going to, well, that's not what I wanted. Okay. You can just see this. So this is a production. This shows the patient name when you do this. But this is the production under this tab right here. And you can tag RXs. You can manage them. So you create your own tags. So I have different tags: T3 set, sent to ABR, 3D Tech Print, 3D Tech Q. So just whatever you use internally, you can create it here, and then you can choose whatever color you want. All right. So I'm going to tag an RX, and I'm actually going to choose. This is going to Xenial Hawk 3D printer, and then I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to scan. Actually, I can do this faster up here. I'm going to scan, and you see it adds it. Scan. Scan. I don't know why I'm saying the word scan, but you can scan those, and that's the same way you can check cases out, and so you can do bulk tags. So if you got a wire bender, he or she can have a stack of these and go to a station and check them all in as he or she bent, and then I can save it, and it adds all those tags in each individual EasyRx. So you don't have to go into each individual RX and add a tag. So you can do it bulk by doing that and get you a cheap $20, $30 scanner. Good thing about EasyRx, it's web-based. You can use it on any computer. I use it on a Chromebook, a Mac. It doesn't matter. Now, that feature where I imported it into my nesting software only works on PC as far as I know. It doesn't work on Mac. So just to let you know, if you're trying to do that on a Mac, it doesn't work on a Mac. I've tried it. It's all about web extensions and stuff like that. So let me change my camera angles here. All right. So then I come over here and I put it up here. All right. And as you put these over here, I usually don't have, I was doing some moving stuff around. So these are what's hanging in the printer right now up here. So I'm about to process them. We'll walk through that processing, and then I'll move them over here to the processing area. So let me grab a camera and get over here. Okay, so let me change that. Am I on the right screen? Yeah. All right. So this is my Form 3. This is the one we sent that print to, and you can probably actually hear the fans going. It's actually starting to heat up and do its thing. I'm going to grab some gloves. A lot of this stuff I use for processing 3D printing. I have it on my Amazon. So I have an affiliate link. If you click on it and you buy something using my affiliate link, I get a couple pennies. Helps out, with the channel and stuff. Or I can bring more cameras and more angles and more stuff. But that is, so I get my gloves from Amazon. These are my favorite. They're nice and thick and do the thing. So this is the Form 2. I'm going to lift this up. This is a print I did yesterday. I kept it here so we can see it. I'm going to lift this up and pull this out. And you can see I have my models. All right, I'm going to lower that back down. This is the new Form 2 build. It's got these handles here, and it's really cool. I'm going to show you when I get over here. But let me set this over here real quick. This is my processing area. Nothing fancy. This is an old IKEA table. I'm actually going to let this drain just a bit while we talk. All right. And speaking of draining, let me show you. So remember those drain holes? There's usually a drain hole in the middle of each tooth. So if I lean it this way, it will actually drain extra resin. The more resin I can drain out of this and keep out of my alcohol wash, the better. So let's go to these Form 2. So this is the classic way. This is my Form 2, and actually it doesn't finish printing like that. It actually finishes like this. So that's what you get when it's done printing. But I bought this on Amazon. I meant to put a link. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description below later. But this is a little drain tool made just for Form 2 and Form 3. And you take the model off, and you slide this on and slide that on, and it drains it out of 45, and it drips back into the resin pan. So it saves a lot of resin. Now remember, I just told you that there's drain holes in here. I don't know if you can see that. There's drain holes in the front. So if I actually rotate this, and I call it the wiper side, if I rotate those to the wiper side and I tilt it, it'll drain like that, and all that on the inside will drain out. But you can see how clean this is because I was able to tilt it. It's actually really clean. Keeps things clean, in other words. So let me put this back on here. And move my little camera stand. We will, there we go. Okay, so the very cool feature of the Form 2, now the other ones you have to scrape these off one at a time, but this is the new Build Plate 2. It's $220 something. It's expensive, but I think well worth it. I actually will take this, right? Oh, look at all that resin it drained out. So all that resin now is not going to go into my alcohol bath, which will shorten the life of the alcohol bath. So I'm going to take these two things and see if I can do them in one. Ready? All right, got them off of there. Gotta love it. So I'm going to actually flip these over and just let the paper towel wick away any extra resin. I don't, like I said, it's a theme here. I don't like a lot of resin. I can get about 80 washes or so in this before I have to replace it. When the models come out and they're still sticky and tacky, I usually have to then change it out. So I am going to clean this up, and it's just a matter of okay. All right, so nice and clean. I can wipe this down. I'm over here. Yeah, I'm live streaming. That's my wife. So nice and clean. I'm going to put it back into the one thing I urge everybody to do is you can wipe this down. And that helps keep the sticky off of here because it gets all over your gloves and stuff. All right, let me back this up a bit so you can see my form wash. So I'm getting resin all over my, there we go. Okay, so this is my form wash. It's made by Formlabs also. I like it because it's hands-free. I'm going to, let's see. Oh, the power went out. This is a good, I don't know if you can see that very well. Maybe I'll grab this camera. Okay, so we have start. We only need a 10-minute wash for draft. Every resin is different. So I've done 10 washes in this using this isopropyl alcohol, and then of course that's sleep, which is weird. I don't know why it's doing that. So it changed to open, But if we open this first, you can see inside of there, it is pretty clear. There's a little swirly thing, and it's a magnetic swirler. So if you've ever done chemistry class, you know what that is. But if I click this, it opens. And a basket comes out. And you can actually hook that build plate up here upside down. But you got to keep your alcohol topped off up here. So I'm actually going to take these models. As you can see, they've left resin puddles on the paper. Ooh, that one did a lot. Now, as you see, this one I did not drain it. One, I only have 2 of those drain things. So you can see how much of this is left over when you don't get to use that little tilt mechanism. So you can see how much is left over. So then I have that set for 10 minutes. I'm going to hit start. I'm going to rotate this to start and push the button in. And that's going to, let's sink down in there. And then that propeller at the bottom will start spinning vigorously. So it starts washing it. All right. So it does one like clockwise for 2 minutes, and then it does clockwise for counterclockwise for the next 2 minutes. Now, while I have this handheld out here, this is my Form Cure. So it's the same size. They kind of look the same. And this has, you can see it's all mirrored in here, and it's got LED lights in the bottom too. It's got this little tray. Take the tray out. And so when they come out of here, I actually dry them up here with this fan. And Perry, the question you asked, I'm going to put a vent right there, like a bathroom vent. And that's an outside wall, so it's just going to blow it outside. But right now, I just have it blow, just some air blowing over the isopropyl alcohol to help dry the models. And we'll get to that point in a little bit. So this is my, this cures for 5 minutes. Again, the power went out on here. I didn't realize that. So this is set for, you choose the resin you use. So again, there's a lot of resin you can choose from on Formlabs Draft, which sets the temperature to 60 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot, and then 5 minutes, and then you can press start. And this thing will rotisserie around, and the light will cure from underneath, and this will cure, and this light will cure, and this light will cure. So we'll get to that in a second. So let's go back to here. Let me set up my other camera. Any questions while I'm waiting? On your printer, can you set it to print at 5 in the morning? Oh, good question. On your printer, could you set it to print at 5 in the morning so when you get to work at 6, it's all waiting? Yeah, I think so. I haven't tried it yet, but the Form 3 actually will do that. I know you can remote print it, but scheduling, that's a good question. I've never asked that. That might be a Formlab printer, but I would assume if you can send it there, I bet you could send it there and then activate the print from home at 5. When you wake up and start getting ready, you can say send the print and start it, and you could do that. I don't know about scheduling. That's a good question. That's a good question. So other questions are, I do have a in the description below on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching on Facebook, but on the YouTube channel in the description below, I do have a link that it's $500 off your printer if you use my link. You get $500 off, I get $500 off materials, so it's a win-win. So if you're looking into, I'm not a heavy seller on Formlabs. There are lots of companies out there. I just always like Formlabs. They integrate well with EasyRx, and they integrate well with my system. Again, they're not the fastest, but they're pretty reliable. Like I said, that one in the middle I've had since 2018 with no problems. You just change out what you need to change out, clean it when you need to clean it, that kind of thing. So let me go back to here. All right. Let's work on this one, and I'll show you how the old way of removing these are. So I take this out. Now this is drained pretty good. It hasn't drained totally because it was at the wrong angle, so it was draining this way instead of this way. You can orientate all your models. Now you've got to be careful that these trays have what they call a life in there. You can only send so many prints. I got the wrong. You can send so many prints to this resin tray down here because there's a clear silicone layer, and then the more lasers that go through it, the cloudier it gets. And so you have to replace this every 2 or 3 resin tanks. There's a green one here, and those are LT tanks. Disregard my broken thing. That's an LT tank, and it's supposed to be like 7 or 8 resin cartridges. So 7 or 8 of these resin cartridges, which are back here in the back. So these are my draft resin cartridges, and they auto dispense. So it has a sensor in there, and it senses the level of how much is in there, and then if it needs more, it just dispenses more. So you don't have to keep adding resin and making sure you don't have to top it off or anything like that. And then this thing right here is a mixer bar. Let me change cameras. Let me get in here. Let's get in here. Get in here. Let's see this. So this is a mixer bar, and it just keeps it mixed. As you know, some of the resins we use in 3D printing, they got pigments and stuff, and they just need to be mixed. And so this keeps it mixed, keeps the properties right. And this plate right here warms up, so it's got to be up to a certain temperature. So this kind of is all-in-one package. Dispenses its own resin as it needs it. This keeps the resin mixed, and it does all the printing. Speaking of printing, I forgot to turn this on. So it has uploaded. I double checked that it has my name. I named it, and so it's ready to go. I go to print. It says make sure you print. This is vented, so this needs to be vented so that it doesn't have a vacuum when it dispenses resin. And then you got to make sure your build plate is locked. So check, build plate is locked. Confirm, and then preparing to print. And I like this because it lights up here, and then this lights up here, as you can see. So you can actually tell if there's an error or something, that will flash and get your attention that there's an error. And this probably will warn me in a little bit and say, hey, there we go. The tank is nearing the end of the lifetime. So that's what I was saying. I got to order a new tank today. They're about $120 for this resin tank right here. And it's got a float in there that senses the resin height, and that still dispenses resin back there. I do like these Form 3s. The actual laser section they call it a garage. It can go into a garage and helps with dust and stuff. So obviously we work in a lab, it's very dusty. So this will actually tuck away into here, into this side compartment over here, the unit that slides back and forth. And so I think that's pretty cool. All right, so let's get to doing this. And I'm going to show you a couple tricks I have for removing models. Get the right camera angle on here. So this one doesn't have that quick release thing. So I have to use a razor blade. Okay, and I just gently slide up underneath the corner. There we go. And then I have ordered this off Amazon. So this is a 3D print tool you can order. Comes with this thing too, and I have no idea what to use that for. I guess to take off certain models. But I like this one because I can get up underneath the print like that, and slide it off without breaking. So you do have, the only bad thing about this is I can't start it. I have to start it with the razor blade. So you got to go through a couple tools here. So slide that. Okay. And then let that drain right there. I'll just work my way around. Just take your time. You just spend a few hours printing this. You don't want to break these, because then you just got to turn around and print them again. Oh, I didn't clear that out good enough. There we go. So, well, there we go. So I like this tool. So lots of noises going on. I got the Form Wash going. I got the Form 3 printer going. And again, I'm not sponsored by any of these, by EasyRx or Formlabs. It's just what I use. So, all right. So now I got that. I like to use a non-razor blade, but like a nice spackle thing. Oh, that noise you hear is the Form Wash finishing. Now you don't have to, but they told me if it's going back in the same printer with the same resin, you don't have to clean it with alcohol, but it just helps aid in keeping the sticky down. And I'm just going to put this back. You don't want the alcohol dripping off, obviously. The bad thing is you do go through a lot of paper towels. So let me get a paper towel here. So this has now, so notice it now says 11 washes. All right. So, and it's raised up out of the alcohol. Now that's the key feature I wanted. I wanted to set it and forget it. I didn't want to have to come back. Now this right here is the wash that comes with the printer by default, and you got clean, you got dirty alcohol, and you got to put them in here and soak them for 30 seconds, and then you got to hand agitate it for 30 seconds, and then you got to put it in the clean. You got to do the same thing, and then you dry them. This one does it all, and it ejects it out of the alcohol, and it starts drying right here. So I aid in the drying by putting it up here. I have my little switch right here. Come here. There we go. So I'm actually putting those up there. And we'll let those dry a few minutes, and then we'll put them in the cure. And I set this to sleep. Oh, wait, I didn't want that. Yeah. I got to put these in there. So then I just go to the next step. Put these in here. Let me see if I can do this with a different hand. So I'm just going to put these in here. And start. And that lowers down and starts doing its thing. Now I'm going to clean up my area, and again, that's a lot of resin, so I'm going to put it in the trash can. And one thing I like to do, I'll show you in a second, make sure you clean all your tools. You do not want them to be sticky. That is annoying. This little build, this plastic thing, comes with the 3D printer when you buy it. Especially the first one you buy, I think. Maybe. I mean, I bought the Form 2. That's why it's all broken and stuff. I've definitely abused it, but I like to be careful with all my prints and stuff, and I think this is a good pad for that. So then I clean up all my tools, put them back everywhere. And I have this cool little, where is it at? Here we go. So on my trash, when I get done, I can hover this over it, And this is a light, and it will cure the resin in the trash, so you're not throwing away uncured resin. Okay, so while that is finishing, let's see if we have any more questions. I'm going to throw away my gloves here. All right, so we have those going, and that's it. I mean, that is. Let me change my camera so the delay is not so bad. So that is my digital workflow, start to finish. You know, no holds barred. That's everything I do. All right, and every lab is different. Hopefully, this will give you some hints. And some tips, some tricks. Put your tips and tricks down below. I'm always open for more tips and tricks if you're 3D printing. But if you're new, you haven't started 3D printing, you're looking into, hopefully this video helped. Give me a thumbs up. Share it with somebody you think might be interested in this. I know we've gone long. Man, how long have we gone? A minute, hour 45. I usually try to limit these to an hour, but you can see there's a lot to go through, and I probably should have broken it down, but we're all here. So let's actually go for the 2-hour mark. For those that want to watch, I'm going to prep some bands, okay? And I'll show you how I digitally prep my bands. And it's using a separate thing here. Let's. I'm going to change to this camera here. Well, you don't want to see the trash. Again, I got to kind of do a faraway camera so you don't see everything here. Let's go and you can hover over the little teeth icon, and it's going to tell you what each of these are, so I can kind of get an idea of what it is before I check it in. RPE bonded. Well, you know what? Let me just. Oh, no. Try that one. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go into this case. I'm going to view it. Haven't checked it in yet, but I'm going to go ahead and prep these bands. Oh, Perry, on your printer. Okay. Does Atero allow the doctor to put the name on the file when transferring, so it automatically prints on the model? It doesn't. It makes it. It creates its own Atero. I'll show it to you real quick. Let me share this screen. Oh, let me do window. Make sure I can show this screen. All right. Okay. Let me remove your question. So these are the file names we get from Atero. So it's like 118438108 shell occlusion. So the name comes from the doctor script. So the doctor fills out the script. They either type the name and which office it's going to go to, and then they attach the file. And so the EasyRx grabs the name from the EasyRx and puts it on the model. So the name actually comes from the script that you're seeing here at the top. I can't show it. It's got the patient name, but whatever name they type in. Now, if they've upgraded to their upgraded EasyRx version that integrates with their software, they don't have to type the name. That's automatically imported into EasyRx from the patient file from their software. So it puts the name on the model from the actual script. So the file names we get from Atero are here. But the cool thing is we actually get pictures. So we can actually preview these. Like here's upper. So we can actually preview these, what the scan looks like and what the mouth looks like. So this is an actual Atero file. So as I'm here, I'm going to take this EasyRx Optimize. I'm going to download it. So let's get into band prepping. And it's going to download over here. And I'm going to click it. Whoa, don't do that. I'm going to click this because I have my STL download set to open Mesh Mixer. So Mesh Mixer is a free software download, you get meshmixer.com or something like that. Let's see, I gotta change my screen here. Share screen, window. There we go. Share. And add to stream. So you get to see it a little back in here, but here is my mesh mixer. And this is what I like to use this for, but you can actually use it for, do this kind of in EasyRx. I have a friend, Tiffany, she does this in EasyRx. She bands, but she preps the bands for EasyRx. But this is actually what I like to use. It goes faster. So this is mesh mixer. And I go to select, and I like to choose 25, and that's the size of this circle, this select circle. So if I hit enter, it changes the size. So now it's smaller, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the gums right next to the tooth. I don't really want to touch the tooth. And I'm just highlighting the gums. And I'm pretty much, I don't know what's wrong with this scan. I'm just highlighting around. I'm just using the left click. Now the controls are different than the EasyRx 3D, so it kind of, your brain has to adjust. So I have that. I've hit the tooth a little bit here, so I'm going to hold down the shift button, and I'm going to deselect or erase where I've kind of hit the tooth. All right, so I've hit the tooth there a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit there. Okay. So this is a little weird on this side. I'm not sure what's going on, but it should be fine. So I'm going to then hit the letter B on my computer, and that means border, and I can hit enter, and it's going to smooth those borders for me. Then I hit the letter T on my computer, and that's transform. I like to do this from the side, and I've measured my bands. I need at least 5 millimeters of width for my bands, so I'm going to go down 5 millimeters. So I'm going to click the scale here, and I'm going to pull this down 5 millimeters. I know that thing was off, but that's usually 2 clicks is what it does. So we have now made a trench for our band. Now you notice it's really vertical. If you want to put a little bit of a taper on there, let me get a good angle so you can see it. Now watch these walls right here. If I take this white box and click on it and then pull down, it'll tuck in those walls. So then it gives more of a tooth shape. So you got the crown, and then the roots kind of tuck in. So your bands will fit a little bit better. So I'm going to go over here and go accept, and then clear selection, and then just do the other side. Now you can see this kind of can go pretty quick if you're not jabbering away and talking about it. So just highlight just the gums. This is easy to teach someone. Also, I taught my 16-year-old son. He caught on to this real quick, and he doesn't really need to know teeth structure. I just have him count teeth, and he pretty much knows what a molar looks like. Oopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Control Z, that is your get out of jail free card. Control Z. There we go. And so B for border, and T for transform. And again, I'm going to go to the side over here. This is doing something weird. And sometimes the thing's weird. So I'm going to hit S, and I'm going to go to there. Oh, that's too long. There. And I'm going to take this. Oh, wrong way. And I tuck it in. Like that. And then accept. Clear selection. And now I'm going to export. I'm just going to, I haven't checked this in yet, so I'm just going to use 100. I usually use the band name, the case pan number, and then I have a folder, 3D prints, that I'll save it to, and I just reuse those case pan numbers over and over again. I'm going to save it. And this one you have to actually re-upload. So upload a digital scan, files from your computer. So I'm going to go to here. Oh, I'm showing the wrong screen. Let's do this. So I'm back in. Let me cancel out of this so you can see what I clicked. I clicked upload digital scan. It's right here, right under this is model source upload a digital scan. So I click that, and I'll select files from the computer. It opens this thing. I go to desktop. Oh, sorry, I go home. Usually it's the top one. This thing is running really slow because I'm live. So there's the 100, what I just used, open. And it's going to upload it in there. And then you go in and you manually base it just like that. Or you can go to 3D Command Center and let EasyRx base it for you if you trust it. Don't know what happened there. Camera went blank. So all my batteries are dying, so I think I should call it quits there. When I use Mesh Mixer, it becomes dominant on all my files, pushing Freeform to second place. Does that make sense? Yes. There's a setting in there where you can set the preferred application STL files open into. For some reason, it was set to Microsoft Paint or whatever view or whatever it is that they use now by default. But somewhere in your settings on your computer, you can set it to default to Mesh Mixer. Now, when I use EasyRx and I use the little blue button on that STL print list, it goes at preform all the time. I don't have to worry about it. So this setup has worked good for me. But all right, so that was a little bonus ditching. I appreciate everyone being here and staying this long for 2 hours. I am now going to, let me do this just as a finish up thing. I'm going to take my little rotisserie, I'm going to put my models on it. Hopefully y'all can see that from there. Again, all my batteries died. And there we go. I just put them in there, spread them all apart so you can see, so that the lights can access all the things, all the surface areas. And I just press start, and that starts warming up, and that rotisserie in there starts spinning around. And then when it reaches 60 Celsius, it will actually, I don't know, it was 100 something Fahrenheit. It will actually, the lights will turn on, the curing lights, and it'll start curing. It only takes 5 minutes. So that's the great thing about this resin, this draft resin, is it only takes 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to call it there. That was a good ending point, putting it in the cure. So I hope that this helped everyone. If you have questions, ask them in the bottom down below. Again, I have my links down below. It is my Amazon affiliate link. Some of the tools I use there. You can look under 3D printing tools or something on my Amazon page. Formlabs discount. I think you get $500 off your Formlabs, a brand new Formlabs. And then I have a link to EasyRx, and then I have a link to my friend Steve Szara, who goes over nesting software, trying to find those problem islands that you can have in your 3D printing software. So I'm going to call it there. Again, if you want to email address, okay, I guess you want my email address. Okay, it is retainerdesigner@gmail.com. I don't want to type it because I don't want any bots to scrape it. So it is my username, my YouTube page, but at gmail.com. So feel free to email me there. especially you four that have stuck out to the end. You can email me and ask me questions. So, comments, banners, brand. Let's see. I got an end card here somewhere, and I got an outro somewhere. So let's do an end card. Okay, so be sure and subscribe. Like if this helped. Ask your questions below. If you subscribe, you'll get notifications when I go live. And again, I try to go live every Friday at noon. So again, thanks again, and I will see y'all next time.